Desiree was just the most special girl to me growing up. She was fun. She always had a sweet little laugh about her. She was always so petite and short, and everything about her was just so small. She was always fun-loving and just fun to be around. She really enjoyed riding horses at my parents and just any dancing. That was her big thing, dancing and makeup and purses. She was just the girly girl.
She was just the best, you know? My best friend.
She had the best personality. She was a very bright person to be around. Her energy was just amazing.
Her smile was the most infectious thing. You couldn't help but smile when she was in the room, you know. She was always there to help everybody.
I was very strict with Desiree. She wasn't allowed to spend the night anywhere. I even homeschooled her through high school just because I've seen everything going on in the world and I wanted the best for her. As soon as she turned 18 is when all the stuff started happening. The marijuana smoking, hanging out with the wrong people, drinking, stuff like that.
I actually don't think that she felt like she needed drugs. I think she needed a way out of her feelings, her emotions, her stress that happened in her life, the things that happened to her when she was younger. She just threw it all into pills, so she didn't have to feel.
I didn't really see her much, mainly because she wasn't hanging around the right people. And like when I did see her, I mean, I knew nothing about it.
I never had ideas. She just acted so normal. Like it was just, she was just used to it. My mom kind of had a clue. She would always tell me like, look into her eyes, like just look at her, you know? But I just, you know, I was just young. I didn't know. I don't know.
So on March 8th, I came home from work, which seemed like a normal day. Before this, 3 months prior, my daughter was going to work with me because I work for a doctor. I'm a nurse for him, and so she was kind of following me around wanting to be a nurse. And so she was going to work with me every day and learning things in the medical field, and we'd have such a great time, and her and the doctor even got, you know, close, and she was learning so much. She was really excited about being able to help other people. That was her main thing in life, is helping other people. So she's always talked about wanting to be a nurse, and so I don't have my RN. So our thing was, we're gonna do it together. And so I was like, let's, you know, you come to work with me, follow me around. And of course, whenever you go into a RN program, you need a letter of recommendation or something from a physician. And so that would give us both the opportunity to go to school together and to graduate together. 4 months prior, Desiree had told me that her and her friends were taking pills. And I immediately freaked out, being how I was. And she was like, I don't want to do it anymore. And so I didn't know much about fentanyl at the time. I didn't hear about it. And so I took her phone from her. She wasn't allowed to talk to any friends. I kept her home with me close. I took her everywhere. And I would always tell her how special she was to me. Now I didn't want her to do drugs because I didn't want her to die. So I would always have conversations with her. And so
you protected her.
Yeah.
Like mothers do.
I tried. And then on March 8th, The only day I didn't take her to work with me, she said she didn't feel good, so I left her home. I went to work that day. We even had a conversation around 10 o'clock that morning. My kids' birthdays were coming up, my other two. My son and my daughter's birthdays were in April. So we were on the phone planning those birthday parties for them that day.
That morning, I came upstairs. I was watching movies with her for hours. We watched this movie called The Watcher, and hours went by, and then I told her I'm gonna go downstairs, I'm gonna play my game, and I went downstairs, I played my game. A couple hours later, she came downstairs to do her laundry, and then she went back upstairs, and I just stayed playing my game, and then my mom came home, and then she told me to make my baby sister some food, and then she went upstairs, and I put the hot dogs in the microwave, and then she just started screaming.
I got home at like 4:30 in the evening, and I went up to my room. Just like a normal day. And she was sitting on my bed, and she was drooling, so I was like, get up, I'm home. You know, the TV was on, everything seemed normal. So I took my coat off, set my purse down, and then I got to looking at her, and I said, Desiree, wake up, you know. I'm home from work. She didn't move. When I got closer to her, I realized something was wrong. And I touched her, and she leaned over. Then I started screaming. And my son ran up, and my 7-year-old daughter, actually she was 6 at the time, came up too, and my son grabbed her up and took her in the living room.
I take her downstairs, I set her on the couch, and then she tells me, no, set her on the floor and roll her on her side, which she was gargling, and we was just rubbing her back, and then, you know, just whatever we could do.
And I started CPR on her. And it didn't take the police long to get there because I live right around the corner from the police station, so they were running in as soon as I did CPR. But yeah, they told me to get off of her, and they started questioning me. And so they didn't immediately give my daughter CPR until the second officer arrived, and then they gave her CPR. I remember at the time I was screaming like, it's a pill, you know, because she had told me about a friend giving her pills, so I freaked out. They automatically knew, and in Leavenworth, Kansas, they don't require the police department to carry Narcan. So they didn't have Narcan on them. Which is obviously a life-saving measure that could save someone's life from that. It took the ambulance 4 minutes to get there. They waited 5 minutes to administer the first dose of Narcan to my daughter. And so she died. She passed away. I sat. She was in my living room, and the front door's right there. I sat there and watched her. And there wasn't nothing I could do for her. And I'll never forget that day. It plays over and over in my head. My daughter was alive. My daughter was alive. Because of the lack of having Narcan on the first responder that was there, my daughter passed away.
My sister called me when the ambulance wasn't there yet. Police were there. And I can tell you I'll never forget that call because the horrific sound that came from my sister was one that I hear often. All she kept saying was that she's gone, she's gone. And so I got in the car, of course, and ran as quickly as I could to get there. And when I got there, they were still working on her. They wouldn't let us in anymore. So that was, everybody was outside. It was cold, damp. And everybody was crying. Everybody.
They told us to go outside where we sat for a couple hours. Then everybody's, family, friends, everybody started showing up, And I was just sitting in the back of the car, and I remember just sitting there. At first, it was all okay because I'm just thinking, everything's gonna be okay. The ambulance are here. What could go wrong? And then I remember that officer just coming out and just walking over to my mom, and it's just like it was just like on a TV scene, like you just watch, And then she just broke out. She started banging on the hood of the car, running around yelling. It was just crazy. And then the neighbors came over and they were asking if they wanted to take us. And I was like, no, I didn't want to go anywhere. And then I remember after that, just hours later, the morgue showed up. And then I remember they brought her out on a body bag. And then I remember I just lost it. I was sitting in the car with my cousin, and she was just hugging me, holding on to me. Just, she wouldn't even let me look. She was just telling me, don't look, just hold on to me, And then we left. We didn't even stay home. We left, went to my auntie's, and then just sat there. My mom couldn't sleep because it was just so unreal that night. It was just like, what the heck? It was my brother. Then my brother showed up with his dad after everything. And
I didn't find out till about later in the night, about 7 o'clock. I had got picked up from work and my mom had told me. It was kind of just a really big shock because, I'd just seen her. It was kind of like everything was perfectly fine. And just out of nowhere, just boom, I just got the big news. And I don't know, it's just crazy how it's going from I'm just seeing her to, and making more plans with her to get to know her more, and next thing you know, I won't get to see her again.
The police did not have it at all. So no Narcan showed up until the ambulance got there.
They didn't have any Narcan on them. None whatsoever. So all they could do was just do CPR and stand there.
And in my opinion, if you're a first responder, you should have Narcan on you, because that could have saved their life. It maybe not, but maybe it would have. So you always have that maybe in the back of your head. Also, the way they left the scene for a grieving parent. I found needles in the couch, on the floor. They had even left the lids to all of their stuff on the ground. I was appalled by it. She was more grieved by it. It was sad for her to see all of that. That would have been a very simple thing for them to do. Have respect and care about the people that you're serving.
The first responding officer in my daughter's case did not have body cam on. And he actually just passed away a few months ago at the age of 25. And they won't say why. They're saying medical conditions, but they won't go into detail. I have a lot of suspicion with the police department and the things that are going on. I went several times. I went to the city commissioner meetings to say, hey, your officers aren't carrying Narcan. Half of the United States is carrying Narcan right now. Why? They have one death every month of fentanyl, and you're not carrying Narcan. So I've went to the chief of police. I've been talking to everybody, and they're like, oh, we're gonna get it. Yeah, they even went on, I was in the Kansas City Star, the newspaper, and their response to getting Narcan is, oh, we're gonna get it next month. And they still don't have it. And their response is they need to be trained on how to use it. So I've been fighting with them since March 8th. Yeah, about their protocol. The EMS didn't follow proper protocol when handling my daughter's situation, and I'm just trying to tell them like how to save a life, pretty much, with Narcan. They've done absolutely nothing in my daughter's case. And I've literally called the detective in my daughter's case every day, every week at least, since my daughter's passed away. And they have not done one thing. They're trying to build a case, a bigger case. That's not good enough. So we've had other parents come forth with text messages, Cash App, Snapchat, showing that she's dealing fentanyl, and that's not good enough. And I said, well, what are you waiting for? Another child to die? You know, I just don't understand why we're not treating it as how it should be treated. Our children are dying. There's been so many kids that have died. I'm friends with so many mothers and fathers that have lost their kids. It's horrific. I mean, just like in the Jelly Roll conference the other day, it's like a plane crashing every day and every passenger dies. I mean, there would be so much media on that. It would be all over our TVs. Why are they not treating our children the same? I have connected with a lot of groups. I have a lot of friends now. Friends that I've never met that have impacted my life so much, that have helped me. I'm so thankful for them. Rachel's Angels, Cruise for Life, Leavenworth. My daughter's on a billboard there. I did a Leavenworth rally, and I set up in Leavenworth, and we had a rally to try to spread awareness, because at this point, we can't bring our kids back. But it makes us feel some sort of peace to try to help save other children from making the same, choices of taking a drug, any of these drugs, and not knowing what is in it. It's deadly now. You can't experiment. You can't take anything. I've even taught my 7-year-old daughter, like, do not take, she comes home with candy from school. She won't even eat it. She's like, you told me not. It's that bad. Like, I've literally told her, do not take anything from anyone. I spread awareness that doing billboards. I share my daughter's story on Facebook. I've had many people reach out like, I didn't even know about fentanyl. Most of us people, it's sad to say, but we don't watch the news. It's depressing. It's sad, so we just choose not to watch it. And I didn't know anything about fentanyl until after my daughter passed away. And I started researching it, and it's just blown my mind. How many people have died from it? The wall in DC, how is our president not taking a stand? You see all these parents lined up with their kids on their shirt and on these signs, and you're not doing anything.
There needs to be something done. I mean, I know we look at the people that are in office that could potentially make change, that they're not making change, which I don't think, I mean, you're never going to stop all of the drugs coming in, the drug dealers. It's just not going to happen. Now we can try, we can get the right people to work on things that can push that. But in my mind, I think they started on the right way with the DARE program, but then in my mind, you need to work with the kids in the schools. They need to know how to handle life their emotions, know that there's going to be tragedies in their lives, and teach them how to deal with it. If they don't know how to deal with it, they're going to do exactly what they're doing. They're going to run to a pill, which is, in our society, that's what you're told to do. Let's take a pill for this. Then they can't get it from their doctor, so they're going to go to the street and they're going to get it. I think a lot of them are just masking their pain, their anxiety, their depression, their guilt maybe, and they don't realize that one of those pills is just could be their last one. Their families have to be left with pictures, which my son's dealing with that right now. I worry every day that I'm going to get that same call. He's got the guilt from losing several friends, his cousin, which he feels guilt for not helping. It's just guilt and shame. We need to teach them how to deal with that. It's like fentanyl is a mental game for people. Not only is it scary to come off the addiction of fentanyl, the mind issue of it is, I've seen it firsthand. He can one day say, I'm ready, I can do this, and then the pain of withdrawal becomes too much. And it's not just the pain physically, it's the pain mentally. And if you can't get in a facility that day, that's been another problem. When they're ready to go to rehab, they need to be able to go that day. We don't have enough resources to do that. If they tell a drug addict, oh, we can get you in next week, they're not going to be there. It's not going to happen. I don't know. My son OD'd 4 times. The last time, we were driving home from the hospital, and he says to me, Mom, why does the Lord keep sparing me? I said, because you have more to do. You have a story. You could help other people. And life just seems to take charge of him. He does very well, and then he doesn't. He's been calling for several weeks trying to get in to a facility, and he doesn't have insurance, so it's been really hard. He had his daughter taken away because of this. Hasn't seen her in 7 years, and we're supposed to see her tonight, so I'm hoping he is able to make it. First time in many years, and this may be the push that he needs to finally go forward, not feel that guilt that drugs have led in his life. They've led his life. And he's a good person. He's just emotionally, his life is run by his emotions. And that's why I go back to teaching our children how to deal with that. It's okay to have emotions. You need to know how to deal with it. You don't have to go to pills and drugs to make life bearable.
So I share her story in hopes to save someone else from the same heartbreak that I have to go through. Later on, I did find out that one of her friends told her she had a Xanax pill. She left it in my mailbox for her. And it wasn't Xanax, obviously. It was fentanyl. And then I found out later that that's what she passed away from. And I didn't even know about fentanyl. And I felt so stupid because I work in the healthcare. And I had no idea about it. And so I'm here to try to help other people see the dangers of fentanyl and not to trust anyone, not even your friends, because you don't know what it is.